Okay. Hey guys, welcome to May's block sampler. All right, we're going to do a couple of things today. The first thing is really easy. You're going to take two rectangles and you're just going to sew them together. And you're actually going to make four of them. So let me start sewing this. Okay, so I've sewn these and I'm going to press them to the darker fabric. All right, so that part's done. The next thing we're going to do is sew some strips together. So you're going to have a couple of different strips. So I'm going to sew a black with a white and a black with a color. So I'm going to sew these two different strip sets together. And I have them cut out around 10.5 inches long. The 10.5 doesn't have to be exact. You can cut that, like around 10.5, but it does not have to be exact because we're going to cut this apart after we sew it together. Okay, so I did the black and white, and now I'm going to do the black and the color. All right. I have these sewn together, and I'm going to press them all to the black fabric. Okay, so there's this one. All right. Here's the other one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to straighten up one end. And so what I like to do is I like to take any line on my ruler and line it up with, say, the seam line or something. Or you could have the end of the fabric here. Just you want to line it up with something. The seam with the line on the ruler is kind of how I do it. So I'm just going to cut off the raw edge so it's nice and even. Okay, so I'm going to stand up for this. All right, so this end is nice and clean, and I'm going to cut these into 2.5-inch wide pieces. And I should get 4. This ruler happens to be 2.5. All right, so these are cut into 2.5-inch pieces. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to straighten up one end. All right, and again 4 at 2.5. Almost there. One more cut. All right. So I'm going to take one of each, and I'm going to sew them together and make little 4 patches. And so if I'm sewing this together, if I sew this side, my seam is pressed up. And if I line up where the seams meet, so it's nice and tight, I can kind of feel it with my fingers that it's nice and tight, and the seam is pressed up. If I start sewing here, it kind of locks it into place up against that other seam, so I don't have to pin it. That kind of makes sense. So I'm lucky that my seam can go this way, so I'm just going to sew it here, making sure that my ends meet here and my ends meet down here. Okay, again, I'll make another one. Making my ends meet. I can tell that my seams meet. I kind of have my finger right on it, so it's holding it all together. And also make sure my blacks are on opposite sides. And last one. So you can make a total of 4 of these, four patches. All right, I'm just going to cut these apart. And it doesn't really matter which way I press these. Okay, so when I was sewing it, I made sure that my seams were pointing in a certain direction. You can see that it just locked in there really nice and tight. All right, so we've made all those. Next thing is square and a square. So we need to find, this is the center of the square and the square, and we need to find the middle on all 4 sides. And the easiest way for me to do it is to fold it in half and pinch it. And the pinching kind of gives me a little mark. I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. I'm going to fold it and pinch it. You could take a marker and mark it, but this works for me. Okay, so can you kind of see the pinch marks on here? All right. All right, so now I also have triangles that I'm going to sew onto the sides. So I'm going to take a triangle and I'm going to fold it along the long side, the hypotenuse side. I'm going to put it right sides together, line up those points, and I'm going to pinch it. And so I'm going to match up where those two meet. Okay, so I pinned it where those two centers meet. And my triangle should extend beyond the square, and I want to sew it with the square on top because the square is straight on grain and my triangle is cut on the bias. So I want to keep the straight of grain on top. Okay, I'm going to take another triangle, fold it in half, pinch it, right sides together, line up where those little marks are. I'm going to pin it. Oops, that slipped away. Let me do that again. I want a shorter pin. Nicer. Okay, it's pinned in the center. I'm going to sew it. Okay, so I've sewn the two opposite sides, and now I'm going to press them where they're going out, and I'm going to press it being careful. I'm not going to iron out my little pinch marks on the unsewn sides. Oops. So this is what I have, and now I need to do the remaining two sides. Again, find the center of my triangle, right sides together. I want my square side up. I'm going to pin where the middle is. And if you look at this, the kind of how the arrows, I mean the points of the triangle extend beyond, and that's a good thing. You want that to extend beyond. And then the last side. Fold in half, pinch. Right sides together. Oh, I keep losing it. Okay, I'm going to sew this last side. There it goes. right, so now I'm going to press it. All right, so this is what it looks like. In a perfect world, these all line up. One of them is not taller than the other. And so when I'm done with this, then I'm going to trim off these little rabbit ears here because they're just going to add bulk. You can use scissors, you can use a rotary cutter, whatever you're the most comfortable with. Okay. And I have all my parts and pieces here. Okay, so this is what the block is going to look like. Yeah, so I'm just going to sew it together in rows. Right? Take these two. And where the seam meets, I'm just going to pin it. These two. So when I'm sewing these, I really want the ends to meet, the beginning of the fabric and the opposite end of the fabric. I want those to meet. I don't want one to be longer than the other, if I can help it. Right. Okay, I'm not going to press it yet. I want to sew it all together first. Okay. And sew this. Actually, I'm going to take these down, line them up. So whenever I line up fabric to be sewn, if I have different rows of them, I always line it up so I would pick it up and put it in the machine. I don't turn it or twist it. It just goes in this way. So however I lay it down, I know that this is the side that's going to get sewn. last one. I'll put in a pin. All right. So I have it sewn in rows, and now I'm going to press it. So we have, this is the center of it all. And if you look at the back side, there's a lot going on with the square and a square, so I'm going to press it out to the sides. All right, and so because I pressed those out, I'm going to press these seams in. All right. So I'm going to take this and sew it with this. So I'm going to line up those seams and sew it. So let me pin the seams. All right. Okay, and then I'm going to sew this onto here. I'm going to pin that. And we are almost done. Okay. So when I press it, again, I still have that square and a square in the center, so I want to press it away from that square and a square. All right. All right, so I'm just going to encourage it to go this way. And then I'll do the other one. All right. There you go. Thanks for watching.